You have rescued Elana, the elven child, from the orcs. Sadly, she knows little of the prophecy. Her master, Goodwind, has taken that secret to his grave. But she does know of Elfwine, a friend of her master, who lived to the east, beyond the Gap of Palmyr. Perhaps he will be of some help. Finally, the party make it back to Esgard Tower. The old priest, Elfwine, locks himself in the library and sets to work translating the prophecy. A week later, and he has little to report, except that the meteors were referred to as the Two Tears. Who could tell how long this might take? You return to Esgard Tower, bearing the strange blue shards, to find that Elfwine has finally finished translating the prophecy. The night sky shall cry two tears, one blue as heaven, Navarre, the protector, giver of life, taker of pain. One red as hell, Lucifer, the conqueror, bringer of death, calls to the warrior. Both hold power too great for mortal races, and they must be destroyed. With their destruction, all their work shall be undone. Yet should they be destroyed by the hand of man, a great cataclysm shall result. This is the paradox of the Two Tears. Having won the battle, you discover the body of young Elana lying broken and battered upon the valley floor. You feel a savage hatred welling up in your soul. In your heart, you wish General Peridian dead, and that it was his body here instead of Elana's. Yet in your mind, you know it is right to follow the General, because down this path lies the greatest chance of destroying the Two Tears and saving the realms from destruction. After a long journey through the Darkwall Mountains, you finally reach the Seer. He does indeed know the location of the Two Tears. The Dark Elves hold both of them in the lands of Duskside, beyond the Darkwall Mountains. You ask the Seer if he knows how the Tears can be destroyed. He asks for the two shards you have found, tells you to stand back, then sweeps the shards together. There is a blinding flash, and the two fragments annihilate each other. The Seer grins and asks you to imagine the destruction that would result if the Two Tears touched like this. A great cataclysm would be the inevitable result. Disturbed by this new knowledge, you make your way back down from the mountains. Having captured Lucifer from the Dark Elven King, you fight your way back to the ship. With as much speed as you can muster, you sail away from the Isle of Eam and back to the mainland. You have recovered one of the Two Tears. That was all that El Dakar had possessed. You need both. So, for now, your search must continue. After a long, hard journey, you finally hold the Two Tears, Lucifer and Navarre, in your hands. Now, nothing can halt your vengeance. Setroth will show you an ancient battle site where you can use Navarre to raise an army of undead. Then, with orcs and undead combined, you could sweep down into Guardia, laying waste to everything in your path until the Guardian Knights and General Peridian were totally destroyed. Finally, you have defeated the Order of Guardian Knights. But your revenge is not complete. The words of the old sage still ring in your head. Should they be destroyed by the hand of man, a great cataclysm shall result. Knowing that only the power of the Tears could totally erase the Guardian Knights from the face of Etheria, you bring them crashing together, there is a blinding flash and a whirlwind of clamor and noise. When the dust settles, you stand alone in the midst of a charred wasteland. After a long journey through the Darkwall Mountains, you finally reach the Seer. He does indeed know the location of the two tiers. The Dark Elves hold both of them in the lands of Duskside, beyond the Darkwall Mountains. You ask the Seer if he knows how the tiers can be destroyed. He asks for the two shards you have found, tells you to stand back, then sweeps the shards together. There is a blinding flash, and the two fragments annihilate each other. The Seer grins and asks you to imagine the destruction that would result if the two tiers touched like this. A great cataclysm would be the inevitable result. Disturbed by this new knowledge, you make your way back down from the mountains. After a long journey and many battles, the Tower of Arcanon has finally fallen, and you hold Navarre, the first tier, in your hands. Recalling a fragment of an ancient myth, you take the body of Elana from one of the wagons where it had been hidden and place the tier upon her breast. There is a flash of light, and the elven child breathes again. You now have one tier, but the second tier is held in the dark elven king's citadel beyond the forest of Iam. Your troops are too few, and too tired to continue. With heavy heart, you turn the army around and begin the march back to Guardia. At last, the alliance with the Wood Elves is secured. Kari, leader of the Wood Elf Council, gathered her ships in the harbor at Solhaven. As the sun was setting in the west, you board the flagship, bound for the Straits of Darkness and ultimately the citadel of Iam. At last, you have recovered the two tiers. But before you could make a final decision, Elana snatched Lucifer's from you, produced the other tier from her pack and held them high over her head. You plead with her not to do anything impulsive, but she reminds you of the prophecy. Should they be destroyed by the hand of man, a great cataclysm shall result. But she was not a man, being neither male nor human. Before you could protest further, she smashes the two tiers together. There is a flash of light, but no explosion. Just a sigh, like the release of a long-held breath. Elana slumps to the ground. The tears are gone, and all that remains is dust and ashes, slowly passing away into silence.